interesting conversation about the vote. We now know that there's a lot of momentum, apparently, in the Harris campaign. Looking at some of the poll numbers, the swing states remain very close. Latest polls I saw in a couple of places where Trump is ahead in a couple of swing states. We know that Harris is ahead in a couple of other swing states. Yesterday, an extensive conversation with Elon Musk on X for the former president, questions of whether or not or when the Vice President Harris will answer some questions. It's been an interesting day. One of the questions that I saw, and I thought we had it, is about the policy differences. Vice President Harris stands on some of the key policy issues, a story from Zero Hedge, and we're getting clarification on what she will do differently. This is the part of these conversations that I don't exactly understand. Here's a little bit about the conversation yesterday on X with Elon Musk. The former president talks about getting the assassination attempt.
I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about.
So they had a conversation about migrants and about illegal immigration, and this is one of the comments from the former president.
These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things, and they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back.
So this is where the conversation goes sideways for people. We do know, and we're going to talk in a little while specifically about a Border Patrol agent named Brian Terry who was murdered years ago, and the connection to a federal operation called Fast and Furious. So there is no doubt that what the former president is saying is true, that there are rough people that are coming here, that there are terrorists and murderers and people that have committed horrible crimes and people that have come here intending to commit crimes. We know that there are people using the visa program, vacation visa programs, to burglarize homes here in Arizona. One of the hardest hit is the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. So we know that is true. But is the messaging about this twisted? And what I mean by that is, do you have to clarify all the time and say not all people? Because I will tell you, and this is what, where I stand on illegal immigration. I think it's horrible. I think illegal immigration needs to stop. I think we need a really strict border security, and then we need an immigration system that is fair and an immigration system we can be proud of. That's my personal belief. But I'll tell you this. I was a young boy in South Florida when Jimmy Carter made an agreement with Fidel Castro, and we had the Mariel boat lifts, and they call those Cubans Marielitos. Some of the finest Americans generations later now after this. I have Cuban families I was so closely connected to. As a matter of fact, they're going to be staying with me in October. I am still connected to this one particular family, but many Cuban families that came to America and became the Cuban Americans that truly are the American dream. We've all seen the movie Scarface. We all know of the accusations of Fidel Castro doing exactly the same thing, allowing inmates and allowing people in asylums out and as part of this to come into America. And we know what happened. We know that it's true. The difference being that was an agreement with our government, and it was done legally. And there were bad people that came with the very, very good. So I don't know that the former president, every time he talks about this, has to make sure he mentions that there are very good people that come here. The difference is if they're coming here under false pretenses, we need to stop it. It needs to stop, and it needs to be done the right way. At least that's my personal belief. And so when he talks about these are rough people, immediately the opposition's going to jump on that. And the opposition's going to say, see what he's saying about migrants, and look at all these good people that are coming here for a better life and these children. And so people are jumping to those conclusions because they don't like Donald Trump. But I will say to you, as someone that's sensitive to it, I understand what's being said because I watched it happen. I know the wonderful Cuban people that came to America and have become such great contributors to our society. But they would also admit they went through a process called Freedom Town. They went through this vetting process. So there is a difference, and I just would like the messages to be clarified.
Thanks for watching The Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.